If you want to become a better piano player, there's one really simple thing you can do to put yourself on that road. And I say it's a simple thing to do, but it's very hard to make yourself do it. And the simple thing you can do to become a better player is to record yourself. And I know that for a lot of you, the mere idea of recording yourself is almost equivalent to getting up on a stage in front of 1,000 people and playing, and you get that visceral reaction to it. I know exactly where you're coming from. But I want to outline for you 4 really powerful benefits that you can get from recording yourself. It's often said that the easiest person to fool is yourself. So we really need to have a method of stopping ourselves from falling into a false sense of security where we think everything is fine because we're not actually being objective. So the first benefit to recording yourself is to give yourself that objectivity. When you think about looking at other people's work, whether it's somebody's writing or a piece of art or even playing a piece of music, even if we're completely supportive of that person and really admire what they're doing, we can be objective about what they're producing. So we can tell if their writing isn't really convincing or their brushstrokes in a piece of art aren't really doing the job. And we can certainly tell when somebody plays a piece of music if something is off, if the rhythm isn't working, if there's too many hesitations, if they're hitting too many wrong notes. And as I said, we can be totally supportive of that person, but we're also being objective and we can hear where the mistakes are. But when we're playing for ourselves and we're busy looking at the notes and trying to figure things out as we go, often our ears are the first things that shut off because we need to channel our resources into all the other important things that our brains are doing while we're playing a piece of music. So we lose that ability to be objective about our own playing. So one way to get around that is to record yourself and listen back. And I know there are 2 parts to that equation and they're both very difficult. One is to just turn on the recorder and actually record your performance. Very hard to make yourself do that because even though we know that it's just a mechanical device, it does feel like an audience. So I know just turning on the recorder and playing while it's running is very, very difficult to do. And the second hard part is to actually listen back to yourself. And that's because we hate to hear ourselves, don't we? We hate to hear our own voice. We hate to see ourselves on camera and we hate to hear our playing. But you do get used to it. And I can say this as somebody who's done an awful lot of videos at this stage, and believe me, in the beginning stages I hated listening back to them and watching myself back because I was listening to my own voice and seeing what I looked like objectively, and it's very difficult to do. Good news is that over time you actually get used to hearing yourself and hearing yourself play, and we do get a little bit more distance. And we are able to take a charitable view of ourselves and listen objectively and make decisions about what we need to change. So the first benefit is really just to be able to listen objectively to what we're doing. And it'll become very apparent very quickly where the mistakes are in your playing. If you're stopping at the end of every bar, if your rhythm isn't working, if your fingering isn't working, you'll know because there'll be hesitations between, one note and the next as you try to work it out. So it's a really good way of discovering where the difficulties are in a piece and understanding as well what you want it to sound like, which is the first step to actually getting there. The second benefit, which I alluded to earlier on, is that when you turn on a recorder, basically you've got an audience and you're going to feel nervous because you have an audience. And learning to perform for others is a really intrinsic part of music. We want to be able to share what we're learning. We want to be able to share the music that we love. But if we're so held back by nerves, we're never going to do that. And we've all had the experience of, being able to play a piece really well and deciding we're going to play it for a friend or a relative. And we start playing and immediately the music just disintegrates and it's as if we never played it before in our lives. So we need to get used to learning to play something even when we're feeling nervous. And the first step towards doing that is to turn your recorder on. It's the most friendly audience you'll ever have because it has no opinion whatsoever on what you're playing. So getting used to playing with the recorder on is really going to help you get used to the idea of playing in public. It's a first step. The third benefit of recording yourself is that it gives you a chance to measure your progress. So if you have a recording of yourself playing something in the early stages, maybe you've just managed to put it together, you're able to play through for the first time, and you make a recording at that point and start working on it, fixing up the bits that are slow or not working and figuring it out and putting in your dynamics and your articulation and really spicing it up, then you also have something to compare it to when you record it again. So later on down the line, you can record yourself again, compare the two and see what amazing progress you've made. And it can be really motivating to have those comparisons because then you can see that it's not wasted time, that you are actually getting somewhere. And the fourth benefit is one that doesn't really have an awful lot to do with music. It's a broader advantage to recording yourself and listening back, is that you actually become very accepting of yourself. It gives you that distance. We talked about it earlier on, but being able to watch yourself or listen to yourself and be kind to yourself as you do that, you really learn to accept yourself, warts and all, and, get more comfortable in your own skin. I think that's a huge benefit. So it's worth pursuing just for that. It's worth just recording yourself saying a poem or reading something out of a book just to watch yourself back and get used to who you are. I love that. And this is one of the greatest benefits I've got from making videos, is I'm actually much more comfortable in my own skin. I'm much more accepting of who I am and what I look like and what I sound like. And I know I speak too fast and, I stumble over my words, but I'm much happier with myself since I started making these videos. And I do record myself playing my music all the time, and it really, really helps me to figure out where I'm going wrong. So lots of benefits to recording yourself. I hope you'll give it a go. Maybe I've just planted a seed that you'll use, further down the line if the idea at the moment is just too scary. But give it a thought. Even if you just record yourself playing a scale or two to begin with, I hope you will get started. As I said, it's a simple thing to do, but the benefits are really enormous. So give it a go. If you'd like to take it all a step further, in the Lekela Music membership, we have a monthly meeting called the Audacity Sessions, where we're all audacious enough to play for each other. And the idea being that we learn to perform. It's not about producing a perfect performance. It's just about getting used to the idea of having others hear our work, no matter how bad it is. And it's a really safe and supportive, friendly environment. We have loads of fun, and I hope you'll join us there. You can get the details of Lekela Music membership down below in the description, and you might consider joining us. I'd love to see you there. That's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you again soon, and in the meantime, happy practicing.